There is so much weirdness in the world today. I can't even begin to make a list of how weird the world is. But you know what? In the midst of all of this weirdness, I've found reasons to hope filling my heart. The internet has brought me stories and images that just give me a reason to go on to the next day. And the main vanguard of this hope in these images and stories that I'm getting are celebrities on the ground, at disaster sites, on the ground, at animal sanctuaries, helping people to people, filling my heart with hope and joy. Mick Jagger sitting exhausted on the edge of a rowboat after a long day of aiding flood victims. Rachel Maddow guiding disaster victims to a safe spot. The Rolling Stones on the ground at a dog sanctuary and helping those poor animals who have been abandoned, who need care, who need love, who need to be adopted. I can't even tell you how thrilled I am to see these things happening. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about AI. You know that in the past I have done other videos about AI and its positive uses for your creative processes, so on and so forth. I've also talked about the detriments to your creative processes and also to society at large. The images that you saw in the opening segment of this video are 100% fake. They look pretty good, but they're 100% fake. In this video, we're going to talk about why it's so bad. We're going to talk about what harm it can bring to you, and we're going to talk about how you can recognize those things. I personally think that these kind of images are some of the most heinous forms of AI that come into your scope of reality. And why? Because they tug at your emotions. They pull at your heartstrings. They make you look at your most wishful thinking. We all want to hope that Mick Jagger is out there rescuing flood victims. We all want to hope that Rachel Maddow is guiding disaster victims to safety. And we all want to hope that the Rolling Stones are putting their warm arms around all of those dogs who need help. But it's just not true. Well, that Mark Twain quote pretty much sums it all up. And in this segment of our video, we're going to take a look at the manipulative power of AI when it's used for disinformation or misinformation. And disclaimer here, this is not intended to be a political statement, but rather a reporting of a sequence of events where AI was used for disinformation or misinformation. On August the 18th, 2024, on the President's Truth Social platform, an AI-generated image appeared that looked like Taylor Swift was endorsing Donald Trump for president. It also looked like several or many of Taylor Swift's fans were coming over to the Trump camp and supporting him as well. Well, that was later proven to be an AI-generated image, and in September, Taylor Swift actually endorsed Kamala Harris for president. At that time, she made some commentary and she talked about the dangers of AI. And in this segment, what I'm going to do is I'll show you the original post from the President's Truth Social, and I will show you the statements from Taylor Swift and the commentary around that. Don't fall for that stuff. You may want to pause the video here and take a closer look. None of this is true. Taylor Swift's response, as reported by the Business Insider on September the 12th, 2024. In regard to what I just showed you, 16th century essayist Jonathan Swift probably said it best. Falsehood flies and truth comes limping after it, so that when men come to be undeceived, it's too late. The jest is over and the tale hath had its effect. So what do? How do you recognize those false images from true images? There are probably a zillion and one different YouTube videos that are talking in great detail about how you can recognize an AI-generated image. We're not going to get into a lot of those things, but they do have valuable information. So things like we have an extra finger, or we have a face split in a crowd scene. We have twins, triplets, quadruplets out in a crowd scene, those kind of things that may tell us that that image is not a real image. But I'm not going to get into those things because after all, you carry around with you all the time the most highly evolved tool for sniffing out bullshit that has ever come on the face of the earth, and that is your brain. But I'll tell you what, if you're not willing to dig just a little bit further and you want to go ahead and spread potential bullshit out in a very nice garden in areas where bullshit won't help, then you probably want to stop this video right now. But if you're interested in making things better, let's talk about that. You have some questions to ask yourself. The first one is about plausibility. How plausible is the situation that's being represented in the image that you're taking a look at? So first, you would have to decide, is it plausible that an 80-plus-year-old Mick Jagger is out in Texas floodwaters somewhere working hard to save flood victims from a watery grave? I would have to say it's not very plausible. But it does play on all of your hopes and dreams and wishful thinking that Mick Jagger is such a great guy and in such great shape that he is out there in Texas helping flood victims. The bottom line is probably not. Now, the next thing that you're going to want to ask is, wow, how do they get that picture so good? The picture is going to be extremely clear. It's going to be very hyper real almost. And your brain is going to notice that. But your brain is first going to go to the thing of, wow, these are great pictures. Well, pictures are not usually that great. Take a look at the ones that you've taken on your cell phone. And you probably have a few that look as good as some of these AI generated images. But that's the minority. So think about those things. So from a plausibility standpoint, you've already checked with your brain to determine whether or not those images might be AI generated. Now here's where the digging comes in. The digging comes in if you're really interested in knowing. You can search, for example, with the case of Mick Jagger. Was Mick Jagger really on the ground in Texas helping flood victims? Was he really there? And you'll get a whole bunch of returns on that search. You're going to go through and there are going to be some that appear plausible to you and some that just don't. But again, the likelihood is going to be that Mick Jagger was not out there saving flood victims. So that's your point of digging and your point of further investigation on these things. And in our next segment, I'm going to talk about the clear and present danger of spreading those images around, commenting on those images, or putting that infamous thumbs up on an image on social media. A current statistic from Wired magazine indicates that approximately 87% of all the images that are images presented to you on social media are AI enhanced in one way or the other. So what you're looking at is probably not an accurate picture. So when you see some anonymous source come up and they've got this cutest ever picture of a guy rolling around with a tiger, it's probably an AI generated photo. And in accord with that, be careful what you do with that. Because one of the things that hopefully you've noticed is that when you post something on social media, and for my example here, I'm using Facebook, but on Facebook, Insta, Twitter, so on and so forth, there's an opportunity at the bottom of your post for folks to give you a thumbs up or a little heart or be angry about it or wow or whatever. Well, if you do that on one of those anonymous posts where you've been taken in by an AI image, you're doing the same thing there as when people do that on one of your posts. You're putting yourself on a list and you're putting a spotlight on you that maybe wasn't on you before. And even if these folks can only get your name and your profile picture, that's enough information to probably clone your profile and send out false information to everybody that made the little check mark on that particular post. So don't do it. If it's a friend of yours, you can usually trust that when you put that thumbs up down there, it's just your friends. But why build a list that you're on for somebody that's a stranger that may have nefarious purposes? Don't do that. Second, there are a lot of there are a lot of pages out there on Facebook and people on Insta and so on and so forth who you have no idea who they are. And their page will come up with kind of an innocuous title. Like one I've seen recently is, where did you grow up in California? Okay, well, lots of people want to go, ooh, I'm going to tell you exactly where I grew up in California. You have no idea the origination of that particular page. Don't comment there and don't like whatever on that. And probably you could get away with not following that page as well. Because for all you know, that could be some bot somewhere in Chechnya putting you on another list. Now, people also, in those particular cases, often give too much information. And here's an example of that. Take a look at the image above. Now, I blacked out the names, but I haven't blacked out all of the information. So that information can potentially give a roadmap to track you down, falsify credit, do those kind of things. So don't even comment on those silly things on social media. Okay, here's another one. You may want to share whatever you've seen on someone else's page, and sometimes it's going to be okay if you can verify the source. If you can't verify the source, don't share it on your page, because that's just dishing the bullshit to a larger audience. And it's, how can I put it? It's contagious. It's an infection, and you don't want to spread it. So social media, if you do these kind of things, it's like handing the key to your house to a stranger. Don't do it. In the end analysis, we live in a world and an environment and a time where the truth is in scarce supply. It's either slanted to one particular worldview or another. It's absolutely fabricated to one particular worldview or another, or the truth is absolutely trampled into the dirt for one means or another. Now, it can be to steal your identity, it can be to sway you to a particular worldview or political view. It serves all kinds of purposes. All of them are nefarious. You have to be careful. And the second thing in this final analysis is whatever you do on the internet leaves a footprint. You need to tread lightly. So I've given you a couple of ideas about how to tread more lightly on your social media, and those are easy things to do. It's also easy to fall into the hole of giving your information away. Just be careful out there, because people don't necessarily have your best interest at heart. In fact, most don't. Have a great day. Thanks for watching this video. Please like and subscribe. I really would appreciate it.